Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. Welcome to another ES Futures trading stream. Just, I got the study. This is the study that I built for volume in the ES. When I did this, my intention was to get something similar to this. This is think of swim and think of swim, and I like this volume, the way how volume here is exploded. But this is the market overall, right? This is this New York Stock Exchange volume, and I like this the way how I have it here, because I can compare. I can compare. For example, this is Friday, right? First period relative to what happened before the previous days, kind of like around the same. Also, I can check over here, for example, I can check the openings. Some of them up and really high, some of them very low, and overall, this, the volume is actually a little bit lower here. Okay, but that was the idea. I want to have something like this, and what I added, this is just for the ES. I can add those or remove days. I think I have only 5, 7, something like that. I have the option here to add. I have the option to add overnight. I am still observing this. This is I don't trade based on this, but I can see, for example, something really of significance happened here. Really high volume. You just check your charts 4 days ago when or what happened here when we have significant higher volume during the overnight. This is when the break started, right? And as the, as the days pass by, volume start to decrease. This is just the overnight, the lower part, and suddenly I have really high volume for the Friday or the last overnight of the weekend or the week. Okay, and what happened afterwards at the end of the day is, this is the last two periods, for example. Right? What I have here is this part here, but it belongs to the next week. Regardless, that's the idea of this study, and I want to check, for example, where this overnight is right now. What happened here is I have to add, right? I have to add this one, this part, which belongs up here, to what I have here. And actually, that will represent really significant volume, maybe up here, right? That would be 230, kind of like compare with this would be Tuesday. Okay, I just want to show that, and why I want to show, because it may start, you may see or start to notice some nuances here. I'm going to get rid of that. I don't want to overload my system here. I'm going to be checking this how it opens. I have a study here, also another study. that it uses quite a bit of memory in the computer. After a couple hours, I had to be closing and opening, to clear some, I guess, cache memory here. Close, open chartbook, open again. All right. And the study that I have is, I want to maximize this. Oh, I have only a few minutes. And this is something that I was showing here. Session times data limit, I'm going to add instead of 2, I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 days here, just to show, because this is the first week I am checking it, but just look at the amount of volume that the blocks this chart has in the past 3 days, and the accumulation actually, the accumulation of volume that this has with directional movement to the upside. Actually, as the market keep going lower, there was volume coming here, right? Coming here, but to the upside. We pointed that at the time. At the time, there was showing accumulation here. Actually, it showed some accumulation on Friday. It showed accumulation on Thursday. It was quite a thing to see, to watch. I didn't have any specific conclusion out of that, because this is also a study that is new, right? It's a new study that I have here that kind of like the idea of this one is show accumulation or distribution stages in the market. It's a work in progress. But what I see here, or what I saw here, is tremendous accumulation that happened here on Thursday, right at where this market is right now. And I can see here the 68.10, the 68.05, the 67.90, right? As the market was breaking here, just getting through this last support or resistance that we have around the 66, 67, 66, September high. And one particular thing, and I didn't do the stream on Friday, but this is something that really was noticeable here, is the action that this day was completely different than the previous one. There was absolutely no regards for any kind of reference that the market had at the time. Any of those references, not even the 60, there was a round number, not even the 6,800. The market just go through that like nothing. Just nobody cared. It's like the market didn't care about those things, and that told me that there was something going on there that is different. That something is building there. What was? I don't know. Right? I didn't know. I don't claim to know now, as well, or either. But Marquez was leaving behind. This completely, very questionable high up here. A non-excess all-time high, and a high that was made during the overnight. But tremendous amount of stops here, around these areas, starting from the 68.90 all the way to the all-time highs. So there is tremendous amount of stops accumulated like back to back in like a firecracker effect potential fashion there. Now, as the market went through these references and opened on Friday. I really didn't have any. I wasn't here, unfortunately. I wasn't here on Friday. I had something to do on Friday, but I was checking. I did a small trade, very small trade, using my cell phone. But I don't like to do that, but I thought it was worth. What I noticed at the time, yes, was the market was trading back and forth for this. I hope you remember that date or that number, the 66.66. It was quite thin, right? And this is when I got my trade here to the upside actually. Just based on that piece of information, and unfortunately I cannot talk more about that. This market is going to open. Okay, market is going to open. Market has opened with a gap. Is very okay. Let's see what the market does here. Let's see if this market tries to close. To begin with, we have higher volume. Yeah, high volume. This is what I am watching here. This the market cannot do anything regarding this low. Look at these lows here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lows altogether. Okay, market's not doing anything about the overnight. Overnight inventory is 100% long. Check or think about what can be happening for these shorts here and all the shorts inventory that is here. That seems to be, that can be trapped actually.
Order filled. Order filled.
Down here. Okay, there's a little pullback here. This overnight high has been taken. If there is no upside extension here, we may see some attempt to take this low or close this distribution. Okay. If not even this distribution, I consider this is very risky right now. But I'm not going to. I don't have. So far I don't have a short here in mind. This high has been taken. This right, the high is right half back. This high is as questionable as this one here. Now let me now. I know the conditions. Of session times. I don't care about this overnight now. What the heck is happening here? Chart settings, session times, data limiting. Let's do 4 days to include at least Friday. Alright. Friday is way below, way down here. Now, how this market opened over the weekend? The data has been, in the past month, it has been showing some clues about the whole week, or what can I expect from the week. It was as the market opened with a gap to the upside, and They tried to close the gap. There was some. Okay. Look at this. Check this out, man. Check this out. There can be some pullback. Right. Can you see this volume here up here? No, this is typical selling. Some kind of support here. The next area of support. If this one is taken, it can come all the way up to here, which is the 68.50. Another 50 points to the upside. And the next one below is way down here, right at the 67, 100 points between this high and this node of volume. And sometimes traders are just too excited, right? I'm going to arrow trade. This is Nasdaq. Configuration. Okay. Color. Okay. I got that. That's not good. Line, you have another line here. Color. That one. Very sluggish, right? A sluggish opening.
Order filled.
$21.50. $21.50. Let's see if we have something here. Again, the first thing would be the 28. Want to see how the market reacts around the 28. If it goes through, $27. Let's see if it can give us another point there. Is really having quite a time. It seems that's going to be the theme here. Very sluggish advance. I'm just moving. I am not willing to stay too much time in this market. And now the next thing that can happen here. I am trying to kind of find out. Right? Again, it's not going to be that easy. Everybody knows market is going higher. And this seems to be like business is back to normal. Another dip is being bought. And what's the next thing here? Next thing is the all-time high. All right? It is just like that. Sometimes it's just as simple as that. Simple as that. Okay, 28. Right, 28, this high, that was it. Let's see how far it retraces from that. Notice how volume dries up here. But the theme is there's nothing here to the downside. There's action to the upside. So when this dries, it doesn't mean that the market is going to collapse after that, but the market may have a pullback to grab more buyers, to pick up more buyers. Just keep pushing. Look at that one there. Okay. It's a day to the upside. I'm not trying to sell anything here. I had a couple of trades already. On the long side, one I was stopped out. And the next one, I took my profits close to 28. I'm watching Nasdaq. What Nasdaq has is this high here around the 800, like 300 points from where it is now, which may coincide with this questionable high. This is very questionable highs here in Nasdaq, just below the gap, right? Which can be actually what this market is aiming. May aim to close this gap here. it may find some support from the ES since it has this very questionable high here and a lot of stops here, like firecracker effect potential around this level, right? Which means only that once one stop is hit, then it triggers a small jump which hits another set stops, which triggers another jump which hits another set stops, and so on, so on, so on. That's firecracker effect. I don't have an indicator. I don't need an indicator for that. I can see it on the charts, the potential. If I have an indicator, I know there's some sort of indicators out there. When you see that indicator, usually indicators are laggard. Indicators lags the market, right? As even this one, the one that I have here, which is this one here, when I see accumulation, is when the market already has. I saw accumulation in my study after, I saw accumulation here after the day has ended, right? And the accumulation started early in the session. Same thing for the subsequent day. After the day has ended, just after that I start, the study start to label the day as an accumulation day. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, 10 minutes. Oh boy. Oh boy. It didn't start bad, but just check this out. You have 10 minutes, okay? 10 minutes. This is Friday. 10 minutes, 10, 20, 30. If the volume keeps coming the same way, at the same pace, we may have same volume or similar volume to Friday. But again, usually the first 15 minutes is where the bulk of the volume comes to this market. Well, I see some accumulation here now. 3,000 here. Well, 3,000. Just look at this. Check this out. All of this inventory here is history now. History. Well, right now is market is dealing with this one. Which actually wasn't. This inventory was kind of long actually. It was not short here. So this is nothing. It has nothing to do with what's happening now. So disregard this. I'm going to disregard this. Now, when markets have this upside movement, this is history, this is history, markets dealing, this is accumulation, this is accumulation. Notice this is, look at the long liquidation, but also as the market was breaking, there was some positioning here, right? From this. So this is one of the reasons I am not looking to the downside here today, or at least at the opening, right? The potential firecracker effect we have here around this is at the 68.60, so there can be some upside here, or kind of upside acceleration here. Short inventory here, and just check, and also check Nasdaq. Okay, check Nasdaq. What is this market doing and what is leaving behind? Now, again, another example, prime example here. First we saw volume drying, right? Volume drying when the market was kind of around here, this area here. It just dries and then comes back a little bit, pulls, pick up some buyers and keep going higher. Now this high here shows an unfinished auction. So the action to the upside has not been completed here. It doesn't mean it's going to keep going higher. It's just that the odds to keep going higher are still there. So if somebody's shorting this market, you just need to ask yourself, right? You need to think yourself, why are you doing that? What is the fundamental, or what are the fundamentals behind your reasoning that is making you short this market? There's nothing wrong with anything we plan. Just why? And if the market is proving you otherwise, we should stop doing that. Notice how volume was coming here in Nasdaq as well. Look at that. Look at that, man. Okay. That's another thing. This is another thing. This is another dynamic here.
Order filled.
This is another dynamic here. Okay.
Stop filled.
Oh, come on. I was stop out.
Order
I'm going to
filled.
put my stop lower here now.
Stop filled.
Did you see these movements, the kind of movements that we had, like okay. This is just dynamics, man. This is market dynamics happening here. Unfinished action. Market goes higher. Remember the theme, Sunday, how it opens, sluggish opening, right? It kind of like continues the action to the upside, and then it goes really low, right? And then boom, some quick push to the downside. If there is something serious to the downside, the market will come back, okay? After this pullback, the market will come back and continue its way lower. Okay, this will be 1, 2, 3. Okay. Otherwise, these kind of movements, again, context. Okay, context. These kind of movements I see as an opportunity to get, to jump as in this case in the long side. Remember, it's not just, I don't take whatever I say with a grain of salt. Also, context has a lot to do here. Remember what happened over the weekend, what happened last week, has a lot to do with what's happening now. All right? Has a lot to do with what's happening now. So my stop is going to be down here. After this, the market keeps going higher, and my stop is going to be just below these rates. Just around here. I don't care what the number is. Just when I kind of like have a plan, a small thing to do, and these things happen so fast, man. You got to act really fast. By the time I am done with explaining the trade may be done, or I may be stopped out, or I may have moved my stop to break even. Depending on what kind of time frame everyone is trading. Now this area here, this little arrow that I have here, that's a big block from the overnight. It's weird, Usually there are no blocks, big ones on the overnight, but there were a couple ones. There was one, another one was the 68, 6780, something like that. And the reason is because there's no volume during the overnight, and higher volumes can actually move this the market's long distances, and the fields usually are not good. They don't have a good feeling. All right, look at this. I'm gonna show you something here. Okay. Okay, let me do something else. I'm going to do another screenshot better. So I can do, and this is as the market keeps going higher, I am receiving signals here. You know, the market is in the distribution stage. Can you see? This is really weird. And I say weird because I have seen accumulation in this area, right? At these highs, and the whole day actually was labeled as accumulation. And some accumulation also, some labels. In this case, I have distribution here, but I had accumulation below, around here, and way below down here as well. The market hasn't moved much actually, and I am starting to see distributions here. So what I get out of that, this may be, I believe it's too early to say anything, but seems like short-term trading. Now, ask this some trading here. What is this? 68.80, 68.33. Market 68.33. Right there. Configuration down. Okay. This blocks, there are blocks activity here. That this one is, I cannot see that. Let's see if I can change this color. Let's see, yellow. Oh yeah, yellow is more noticeable. There you go. Yellow is better. Turn it down. Save, okay. Let me change that. Copy. Triangle. Up. Triangle up. Save. Oh, look at that! Almost 10,000. Almost 10,000. Okay, let's bring back the daily volume histograms. No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a screenshot there. Okay, there's no volume here. Remember? No, the next node of volume is around the 6850. We have this one, market is dealing with, and down below we have this one here. So kind of like around the, this is a 100 point range here. This market might have. Currently, the auction is aiming to this side. There's nothing here. There's nothing here. Remember, there's nothing here. The market needs nothing. Doesn't need volume actually to move through this if there is anything serious up there. Wow, 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 look at that. Look at the volume again. I found this interesting. Remember, this is one of the things that we were showing. It's almost just 7 more minutes. Look at what the volume seems like it's going to be. Right? It's going to be one of the lowest, on pair with one of the lowest days of last week. It doesn't mean per se, I'm not going to trade based on these levels. Okay? It doesn't mean, oh, I'm going to go short. No. I'm not. This is just one piece of information. Okay. Distribution means the traders are buying dips, selling rallies, right? This part, this pullback in Nasdaq has been taken. Now, I wonder. Oh, and also this was kind of like really close to support as well. Let's close this profile. We have a gap here, and look at what's happening here. We have a gap to the downside in Nasdaq, right? We have a gap to the downside in Nasdaq that was closed, man. It was closed with another gap. You know, that says a lot about this market. Really. Okay, let's close this profile as well. I have these references. Oh, one of the nuances of Friday was, you know, the volume. Actually, this is something really nice to check, right? And how volume, how you can get something out of just pure volume. All right, just let's do another screenshot of the same chart. This time in full display. Look at Friday. How much volume we have on Friday? Oh, this is just the ES, right? This is just the ES. Higher volume, overall higher. And what happened, right? Volume started to increase to close the week, but as we have volume going lower, the market couldn't actually close low. Right? The market didn't close low. The market closed higher. Now, it is going to be something very healthy if, let's make this smaller. All right. So I can take a screenshot here. I can take another screenshot here. This time only this part here. Okay, because inventory here, very questionable high here, this one's as well, but market just keep going lower, right? It leaves a very questionable high here as well. This high on Friday was right the support September high. It's open right there. There was a 50 moving average, was somewhere 67.29, around this level, very close to this reference here. And we have extremely very short inventory. Market start to do some back and forth around this 66. Again, we have the same behavior when the market was going higher, 66. Okay, so now we have very short inventory that's being squeezed in the second half of the day, and now whoever keep their positions here, expecting or hoping the market will open down here, you know, what do you think they will do as the market open in this area? If you are short here, you're short. What do we do here? We just get out, right? The first thing, take your losses and walk out of this market. And what happens when you take your losses? You buy. So that adds pressure to the upside here. That adds pressure. These shorts here, getting out, actually push the market higher. But it will be healthy if this action, which actually is shorts getting out of the market, is, is accompanied by new longs here. New longs joining this movement. And new longs coming here along this position, getting out, right? So that would add or will be a sign of healthy market. One of the ways to check if that's happening, if it's volume, okay, is if volume joins the market. Okay, if volume comes here, it's a little bit higher than the lowest day of the last week. Can you see? It's a little bit higher than the lowest, but it's lower than Tuesday, lower than Thursday. A little bit higher than Monday. Now we have 10,000 here. It is actually 9,700, but I consider that 10,000. So a sluggish market, but it doesn't mean that it cannot go higher. Actually, that's one of the characteristics many times, of a movement that with good odds the upside is having that kind of sluggish. It's always because what happened there is the shorts, right? And now this is psychological, this is behavior, right? When you are in the short side and some sophisticated traders are in the long side, or even if you are in the long side, right? What would you do? This market going higher super fast, really quick, or you will want a market going, make the movement really nice and slow, moving higher. Because if it goes fast, that's a short squeeze, and there's no way this market is going lower, right? It's going to keep going higher. You better get out. But if it goes nice and slow, that bring hopes, that keep the hope alive. And all of these shorts that are underwater, that are trapped, that are waiting, praying is not a good strategy, praying that for this market to go lower, to go back to where their entry, right? Or at least they might be even position averaging now. They got a trade, didn't work, now they're building and trying to get out, building another position, which is something really, really, at least from my point of view, really bad. You got a trade, you stick to your plan, man. I always like to observe, to watch the openings, the weekend opens, how the market opens, because I guess I'm going to say maybe 65% of the times it will give us some idea, right, of how the week can, how the dynamic of the current week can be. Very sluggish, man. Very sluggish. I am flat here. It is back to that 28 level that I was checking. Let's see, and this is the thing, right? Once you have a trade, you just have to, let it go, man. Look at that. This is hard back here. Very sluggish opening. one of the things that I was I got I got I got chat with traders. I have this podcast in Amazon Audible since maybe almost 4 or 5 years, but I never really paid. I never listened to any of the of the episodes until I listened to Stephen Goldstein's book, The Mental Game of Trading, and he was mentioning some examples. He was having some references. He was references this some episodes of this podcast. That's when I started to listen, and it's really nice. You can I mean I guess you can also find interesting stuff depending what kind of trader you are. Right? I was just kind of like picking something. I listened to Tom Dante like 10 times. That was really nice for me at least. This guy also is fascinating. Diego Lopez. What episode is this? Is episode 309. Trader Dante is episode 39. Wow, 39, and this guy's 200 episodes after that, 300, 300 episodes after that, almost. And last playlist, I guess the last one I hear, where was something really market making, right? And it's very weird. It's really it's not often that you find this is episode 220. You will find somebody in the other side of retail, right? Which are the market makers, right? Taking positions from traders. It is really nice, right? And by checking the comments here, yeah, but there are some comments that are so biased, man. Really, it shows how this business is. When we get trapped by bias, you can see in these comments how these guys may have many of the comments commentators here may people who commented here may have listened and may hear the episode, but actually didn't listen, right? It just get into their heads through the left ear and just get out straight from to the right ear, right? Just went through the heads. Just don't listen. But and I am just trying to highlight, right? This is how biases can impact us. I may have an opinion with this market. My opinion is that this market has to do this or has to do that, and I forgot to trade the market that I have here in front of my eyes. I may have a bias to the downside, I may have a bias to the upside, but trade the market that happens in front of you. Now, this market has come down below the 68, below this area here, in which there was this spike to the downside. Remember, some quick spike to the downside, and I highlighted there. I made a comment there that usually those areas, those kind of movements, are used to get if there's something to the downside, the market won't go through and have some downside. Otherwise, it's an opportunity to get in, to jump into the movement. It's right there. Now I'm just something is coming to our mind now. And you build these opinions, right? All over time. And you need a lot of information. The information that we traders process it can be overwhelming here. But that's what this business is about. I'll say something here. When this market had this formation in the upper side, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-day range here, 6-day range. Down below we have a significant. Hold on. Down below we have another maybe 4 days here, right? And a bigger one, a weekly range down here. Okay, 5-day range high here. I don't know what the heck is this. September high. Okay, just pay attention to this too, right? That was the bigger time frame, and the shortest was this one. This range here, and one solitary day here, right? With extremely short range relative to the previous days and high volume. This is one of the characteristics of this really high volume compressing one narrow range. And at the time, the observation was many times what markets have the tendency to do is to come back to this kind of like empty areas and feel it before it does a directional move. Which one? I have no idea. Can go higher, can go lower, I don't know. But this is something that usually happens. And that is something that I am starting to right now, as we speak, I am starting to think about. It just catches my attention, right? This catches your attention that, as the market comes back to this range, to this void that it has here, to this big gap here, market is back into the gap, and I'm just wonder, can this be possible range here? All right. Not saying that this market is going to break now, today, right? Because after all, we have this potential to the upside here. All these levels, this one, and this one. This market can make a new high here. Look at that. Oh boy, dear. It's going up without me. Very sluggish. I'm expecting a sluggish auction. And that I can see now better as this second period is underway. We have another question high here. Adding weakness to this one, $68.10 is, oh come on, man. Okay. 68.10 is the immediate support resistance here. I think I'm too late to this. And I have this range here, right? Look at the high here. 68.08. 68.10, call it 68.10. This is the 5 week. Why I don't have that, right? What the heck is that? 68.10. What the fuck, man? God, I don't have that one here. What the fuck? I don't have that. What? That was the 5-week, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a 5-week range high. What the heck is that? I remember having that reference. 5-week range high. Oh, come on, man, really? 68 on 9.5. God damn. 68 on 9.5. Five-week range high. I may have erased this. This is support resistance. Okay. And it comes from way back. I mean, I don't have I don't need to upload that part of the profile. No, this is too much too. It's okay. It's this one. The fuck. God fucking damn it, man. Okay, these are not areas to trade, but these are important references. And when the trade is dominated by short-term trading, the shorter time frame that is dominating the market or the sessions, the higher the odds that these references are going to be used or are going to be closely watched. It's not an indication for any kind of trade, but it's a significant piece of information. Look at this, look at this, look at this. Look at the 6800. What do we have there? We have POC, or not POC. We have the distributions close here. We have this one that I didn't have here. Okay, the other one, the next one in the upper side is 6952. What do we have here? What the heck is this? This one is a weekly low, right? This is a weekly low and comes from this range here. This I will call you short-term support resistance. Okay, very, very, very short, shorter time frame support resistance. Nah, that's too much weekly. Just leave it there without label. You know what that is, right? That is this low here. I think it's this one here. Here the market may build something. Now, what this, the meaning of this, what is represent, is what I'm trying to highlight here. This represents the low of this range here. You have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 day range here. When the market attempts or comes back inside this range, guidelines, balance guidelines start to take over here, right? I'm going to watch very careful if the market has acceptance in here, back in here, which can target this movement, which can target this high here, right? And this time it may attempt to reach this trend, right? I'm not saying that this is going to happen today, but it takes time, right? Because this is a daily time frame. What this market is leaving behind is a very large gap, actually, right? Very large gap here. Very large gap here. Let's check what Nasdaq is, what the other markets are doing. Significant gap. And this area, look at this. This high has been taken. And it's breaking out of this range again. With a gap, potentially aiming to this gap on the upper side. Very huge gap here. It may fill this void here in the weekly time frame. As the market was going lower, volume was actually increasing, right? Ooh, look at that, another 10,000. This time is lower, huh? Look, another sign of distribution. I don't know if you can see this. Can you? And this is interesting here. Look at this. Higher volume, a marker that comes out. I did this manually. I guess how can I do this, man? No, this is just manually. This is this volume here that I translate to this chart here. One alert to distribution and another alert to distribution. So there is some selling actually. As the market goes higher, there's some selling here that is coming. That's selling from bigger trading, bigger money is selling here. So there's selling into strength. And a significant block here. Oh boy. 68.30. Look at that. 68.30. This is C or B. Let me see what period is this. 10 a.m. This is B. 68.30. This is another one. A little bit lower here. Right here. Again, this is higher volume coming in the opposite direction. I have no plans to short this market, by the way. Okay. So these are just studies here. It means nothing, man. This is this is what discretionary trading is. You grab information and make your decisions, right? Based on the information that you're receiving. One piece of information doesn't trigger automatically any kind of trade. In Nasdaq, gap here signal. Let me highlight this right at this support, right at this support line here, right? It's another gap on the upper side. So far, Nasdaq has had this is a really narrow range, really narrow. This market can close this gap here or can keep moving higher to close this one actually. That would put the market back inside this upper range. Right? And what level is this? Coming back to this. Look at this trend. Come on, man, really? Stand to right, it's buying right there. So the potential is 2600. What do we have? 2600. Look at what is 2600. Look at what is 2600. The closer the gap, which is this trend on the upper side. Right, what the Dow? Let's check the Dow. This is, look at this narrow gaps here, unfilled gaps, right? Come on, motherfucker. Come on. Come on. Come on, what the fuck? Alright. One there. Really narrow gaps, right? Really narrow gaps. Market just attempt to close. It don't close. It don't feel fully close. Got another one down here. I don't trade the Dow. But this could be one of the nuances of this market, right? Nasdaq, while Nasdaq and ES actually close bear gaps, this index has a tendency to remove inventory but don't fully close. Down here as well. Oh, there's another one here. Look at it. It's another really tiny one here. This is crazy. Any of you trade down? Trade it down? It's interesting. This is just curious. I'm curious about this. Is that how is this how the Dow behaves? Notice this range here. Right. Oh, this range. I will call it this range maybe up here, because yeah, I'll call this a range here. Right, extend. Just look at it. What happened here? This is this range here. Market ranging here. Then another one comes. You know, this is. I guess you hear this is. I guess this is the box stuff, Fibonacci's or whatever. And it came back in here. Now it's getting. I wonder if is there another box, another range forming here? Who knows? Whatever Russell. What is the Russell 2000? Okay, trending higher. Is this have a range here? It's a big range here. You know, just look at this. Right? This area here. A small one here. The 50 hasn't reached it. May this market may actually attempt. Oh, look at the low. Where this low is, right at the 50. I guess the weakest one looks like is the Russian. What about the intraday? All them gapping to the upside. Russell and the Dow actually are have a downside trend trying to fill the gap. A downside action trying to fill the gap. ES and Nasdaq are another, two tails market here. What else? Ooh, look at this, man. Bonds will actually, bonds open with a gap to the downside. Now there are, this can be, okay, this may be a reason why these markets, these are divergent markets, go higher, crude going lower. It's back in Friday's range, right the center actually. Potential to the upside here. The daily downside trade in crude, upside trade, short term, really short term, but big range in dollar. Crude the trend, the trends to downside in crude, dollar. There is some range potential for gold, and the bond market is in this huge range, right? It's kind of like a compression here. This one not. Now let's check some ETFs. Wow, look at the max, the Magnificent Seven. Look at what it was bought from the 50s. What is this? Bitcoin? Bitcoin, Ethereum. Ooh. Retail is not good. Alright, who cares about that? Now this is starting to look like short covering, man. Really short looks starting to look like short covering. Look at the volume, man. Look at the volume here. Look at the difference, how the volume has decreased in the second period, right? On pair, with the lowest day the past week. And this is the ES here. So this kind of information actually highlights, the potential that the odds that this movement is that this is a short covering rather than a more healthy buy. Of course, everything starts with short covering. And what I am doing here is monitoring the market. This is a constant evolving trading it's always evolving. This volume here, this is significant volume here actually. Let's see if this one, if the label does not interfere with 2K. It's too high, right? Why? Uh-oh. I didn't mean to do that. Well, that's how it is. 2K. Let's split this profile. Okay. Doesn't have access. Prices may have gone too far to attract new buyers. Maybe it needs a little break here. Now this is very questionable, right? When the opening, that's halfback. Daily halfback. You have any questions or comments? Oh, one of the things that I thought on Friday. Remember, I wasn't trading desk, and I don't have micro profiles on my phone. I just have bar charts, and see, guys, I can actually check more than maybe less than a minute, once in a while. I was checking the chat. I'd say, boy, this. I was kind of upset, right? Because I thought many times we got these emotions based, okay, or assuming, right? We blame ourselves, we shame ourselves, just saying, man, boy, this could have been a good day, right? Because I am doing this, I am making this certain amount of money, for example, right? And that was a decision I made, right? I'd rather have this income that I knew I was going to have 100%. I was 100% sure I was going to, and I had some kind of like a little hunch there that this market may find a bottom over the weekend, right? I mean, meaning that Friday. I went, I leave thinking on that, right? Just kind of like being very, very ashamed to leave the trading desk for something, having that kind of thing. And because of that bias, I thought that I was going to, if I stayed, I would have been doing a lot of money. And that is an assumption, right? That's wishful thinking. I think I am a bad trader because I had this outcome, and I'm just thinking, right, that if I have stayed, I would perform well, and I just couldn't get rid of that thinking. When I did replay the day, I check. I realized that was a really hard day. Really hard day. It would have been a really hard day. Tempo wasn't good. There was a kind of like a choppy moments in that market, and from my point of view, maybe one clear opportunity, somewhat clear, or not that muddy opportunity, the 66 reference that I'm talking at the beginning of the stream. And that reference actually is not in the charts, all right? That reference comes from the memory about the behavior the market had around that particular level, maybe 3 weeks ago. Just that, all right? Based on that. But even though my little trade was at around that level, if I would have stayed on the trade desk, it would have been really hard to stick to that trade, to hold that position, because the market actually came back and checked that reference, checked that level, that very specific level, and kind of like I believe it traded a couple ticks below that actually before doing this, before starting the rally. Now we have a rotation here in this market. We have rotation when and this is the behavior, right? I have no idea about what bigger traders are doing, but I cannot just sit here and not think, well, if I am going to sell something, I don't want this market to come to go lower. So we all see the market going lower. Actually, we kind of like stop a little bit, let the market settle, and then when market goes higher again, it starts selling back. Another distribution here, another distribution sign here. Another stage of distribution. All right. I'm going to call it a day here. I'm going to leave the stream up for a little bit here. I'm going to see if there's an opportunity here actually in this market. This is an area of stops from the overnight. This is another area of stops from the overnight. And the main reference would be closing the distribution support down here. Again, this is support here, and of course the 6800. This is a huge gap. My 60 points gap here. Now the thing about these markets, about how high these markets are, just check this out. We are 68.22, right? 68.22. Yep. Oh. 68 times 2%, 136 points. A pullback 2% is over 100 points. 1% movement, the higher the value of S&P, the higher the price, the higher the range, the wider range is going to be. A small pullback of 1% or a small movement of 1% is going to be 80, 100 points. Isn't that good? I think that's good. I'm going to take a break here. One of my rules is, if you feel tired, and I got that written, if I feel tired, I just go back to sleep, or I take a nap, or just walk away. Many times, long are the days. I still remember those days in which you know, I fell asleep in my chair, watching the screen, and just realized, well, what happened? Right? I didn't know. I didn't know what happened because I fell asleep, and I didn't want to go to bed, didn't want to rest, didn't want to nap, and if I went, what I did is I had markets on my TV, on my screen. I started to broadcast the market to my TV. So whenever I open my eyes, I will see the screen. I will see, what the market's doing. That's just ridiculous, man. You just have to go. If you want to become a good trader, you want to become a good person. You want to become a better person, a better version of you. Not a better person, but a better version of yourself. Taking care of your body is one of those important things as well. Now, before I go, notice what's happening here right now. It's exactly what happened up here. Some accumulation down here. This is an unfinished action. Unfinished action. I want to see if there's a spike here, just like it happened here. Alright, guys. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. I wish you good trading. And stay safe. Bye bye.